lot lately in regards to Jameis Winston. He can throw you into a game. He can throw you out of a game. Well, it was weird. It was wild. It was the full Jameis Winston experience, and it was all for naught. We'll talk about it. Your latest Lockdown Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things dog pound, LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Your host, Chef Floyd. We appreciate you all who make the show your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, jump on in, the water's warm. Join us all by subscribing to the Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Become an everydayer. Show is always available. It's always free wherever you get your podcasts. You can start this season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. As far as football games go, that was a hell of a game. Denver wins 41-32. Jameis Winston breaks the team record for total yards in a game. Jeudy spoke all week, and I told you all, I was not sure how this game would go in regards to Jeudy. Granted, it wasn't necessarily the Jeudy-Patrick Surtain matchup, but Jeudy went into Denver and let everybody know that he thought he was being held back in his time there. People were pointing the finger at him for some justifications that maybe he felt were not on him. Well, and even Steve Smith now agrees, Jeudy is now 5th in the NFL in receiving yards with 880 yards, a monster 235-yard night going back to where his NFL career started in Denver. A magical night for the young man. And a situation like that is so difficult as a player because you got to keep your emotions in check. You don't want things to get the better of you. You want to look the best you can, but you got to make sure that you don't mind screw yourself out. And Jeudy did not do that in any way. It was a monster night for Jeudy, obviously a monster night for Jameis Winston, and also a monstrous evening for Jameis Winston. The 2 pick sixes, final interception late in the game. Look, Jameis can be such an up and down and a roller coaster and an amusement park all in one. We all know this. But when the highs are high, it is insane. But facts are facts. In his brief time here as the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback, this is now his second 3-interception game, 2 against 2 teams in the AFC West. You throw the ball 58 times. They're all not going to be perfect. They're all not going to go everywhere you want to go, which certainly is on Jameis. But if the Browns had any confidence whatsoever in a running game, you wouldn't need your quarterback to throw 58 times, let alone 29 times in a second, whatever that outrageous number was, amount of passes thrown in the second quarter. But, you get Jeudy. You get well over 200 yards. Elijah Moore, over 100 yards. David Njoku, 9 receptions, 2 touchdowns. You see that, with competent quarterback play, just exactly what can go on within a Kevin Stefanski, Cleveland Browns-led team. It was a great watch. Credit certainly to the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix. It's hard to believe that Bo Nix threw for 200 yards less than Jameis Winston because it really seemed like Bo Nix was getting his as well. Denver certainly ran the ball a little better, certainly capitalized on turnovers, but there certainly was 2 interceptions thrown by rookie Bo Nix as well. Denver, I think, has got the makings of a team that can be consistent for the next couple of years. Just got to hit on a couple more players. Strong trench play, though. Offensive line is good. Defensive line is good. This is something that was a real big thing for the Cleveland Browns. They never got the defensive line right until 2023. The offensive line certainly tapered off in 2023. Certainly is, probably right where it was, I would say, here in 2024. But it just goes to show you the basics. Line play does still mean something in today's NFL, and it certainly looked that way last night for the Denver Broncos, getting 3 sacks along with the turnovers from Jameis Winston. I think we did maybe get a little clarity today, though, in regards to the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation going further. Cleveland Browns Daily, and, love Bo Bishop, absolutely love Nathan Segar, a great gentleman. It's actually a show I've gotten to be on, and, certainly was honored to get the call to make an appearance on that show. But they don't really give much up. Look, you got to keep in mind, they work for the Cleveland Browns. So, whatever information they're privy to or whatever information they have, most of the time it is probably with the understanding that it is supposed to be kept under their hats. So it was interesting today when Nathan Zagara was speaking. They were certainly speaking about last evening that the beans were kind of spilled, that, they just don't see how this goes on any further with Deshaun Watson. I think it's something we all probably have felt for a long, long time. But it's interesting that you finally get somebody, related to the Cleveland Browns organization that is actually gonna, put that out there and actually say those words. And again, Nathan's a great guy, and, you got to be good in these types of situations when you work for the team, because it certainly can affect your job. But I certainly think you got some clarity as far as the Browns situation with Deshaun Watson. And look, for everybody, why was he still? Look, decisions were made. They did what they did. And sometimes, hey, even if they didn't believe it, sometimes you got to get beaten into belief. And I think Deshaun Watson's lack of play beat them into the belief, as much as Jameis Winston's quality of play beat them into belief, that it was a huge mistake they made. But it was also a huge gamble that they made. And sometimes the biggest, rolls of the dice in your life that you take on things, you're not always so quick to admit that there may be some wrong, or, you were incorrect. So it may have taken them a while to get here, but it looks like they are finally here. Jameis to be the quarterback. Look, I don't know if Jameis is going to be the quarterback, for the next 3 years. But the Cleveland Browns can offer him to be the starting quarterback in 2025, and it would be his job to lose. I'm not sure there's a lot of other NFL teams that are going to give him that opportunity. But his personality, his play, and it's just infectious. And look, right now at 3-9, the Cleveland Browns are a lot more interesting than they were week one. Look, we all know where we felt with number 4. I think, everybody would have swallowed it if the Browns were winning and said, you know what, even though I hate the guy, my team is winning. It was really 10 times harder to watch when you didn't like the guy and the team looked terrible. Well, Jameis Winston shows you that there is life within this Cleveland Browns offense, and it may not come to any great significance or success in 2024, but all eyes can shift to 2025, and hopefully everybody can kind of enjoy the offseason, follow it with high anticipation. I know everybody's going to say, yeah, wait till next year, da-da-da-da. But with players like this who perform like they did last evening, I think we'll all be along for that ride. We're going to continue on here. Your latest Locked On Browns. Appreciate everybody for being along. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. PrizePicks now offers Venmo to quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your accounts all sports season long. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on PrizePicks. You guys know I love the primetime games. Imagine last night if you took it over on Jerry Jeudy and over on Elijah Moore and over on David Njoku and over on Jameis Winston. Whatever money you put down, you would have been eating like a king. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 off instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. Sorry about that heat in the house now. Oof. Certainly drying things out. You Locked On Browns continues. Your host, Jeff Lowe. We appreciate you all for making the show your first listen every single day. Become an everyday or subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Cleveland Browns lose 41-32 in in Denver last evening to the Denver Broncos. Monday Night Football game went on forever, but the game was fun. Great football game. Certainly a top performance from Jeudy, a top performance from Elijah Moore. Devin Bush and the linebackers, not great last night, but Devin Bush has put together a really solid year for this team. Speaking of linebackers, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah will not play Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Kevin Stefanski basically stopped any further questions from there. So not giving us much more information on Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, but also certainly seems like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah probably maybe has played his last football in 2024. Certainly something to monitor. And all thoughts and prayers go to number 6. Ronnie Hickman, start last night. Nice effort from him. Greg Newsome, I would say one of the better evenings for Greg Newsome. Interception, coverage ability, PFF grade over 81. Nice night all around for Greg Newsome. But man, that passing game, Lord have mercy. And look, as some of the, bad throws from Jameis certainly were issues, man, but the success of it. The first touchdown in Njoku, 3 guys in the area. There was only one spot to put the ball. He did just that. The Jeudy touchdown. Everydayers, you've been here for years. If you've been here for weeks, you've been here for months. The one thing that it always seemed to be missing with Deshaun Watson, the quarterback position for the Cleveland Browns, was throwing the ball vertically. 70-yard touchdown to Jeudy after you just gave up, 98, 97 yards, whatever it was. Marvin Mims, as Michael Woods said, and actually Michael Woods, let's give him a shout out. Nice to see Michael Woods back on the field last night. First time in a long time, certainly. 3 receptions, getting his feet wet. He said a lot of Oklahoma Sooners out there on the field last night. He was absolutely correct. But you can see what is here as far as what Kevin Stefanski can do. And I think a lot of people give and beat up coach way too much. Look, again, I will always stand by the fact that if you think heads needed to roll because of the bad part and the absolute terrible decision for that Deshaun Watson deal and the way it turned out, I will not disagree with you. But I think in a situation like this, it's taken the Browns so long to get things right that they said, I don't know if what's behind door number 2 is a better option. We're going to take these men on the bulk of their work, not just one part of their work. Look, either way, I can understand the justification for letting people go or keeping them in tow. I get it either way. I truly do. But you saw it last night. And for those who want to bring up they should have just kept Joe Flacco. It's a big difference when Joe Flacco's about to turn 40 years old as opposed to Jameis Winston, who is 30 years old. Huge, tremendous difference. 2 typical guys probably, at the points of their career throwing the age of both of them into it, because it's the same thing Joe did last year. There were weeks where Joe was phenomenal, but you said, oh, wow, look, he threw for 340, 3 touchdowns. Oh, he threw for 2 picks or 3 picks, whatever. Threw back-to-back pick 6s in a playoff game. This is why, A, these guys are available. This is either why, B, these guys are backup quarterbacks at this point in their career. Controlling the football in the NFL is an absolute must. But you see everybody involved. Touchdown pass to Nick Chubb. Elijah Moore working underneath. Elijah Moore with a great deep route and just clicking. And, it just seems so disheartening that you can't just get a perfect blend of the 2. Right? That seems to be the difficult part for the Browns. They throw the ball well, they can't run, or they ran well, didn't really ever throw the ball well. And this is they've never really truly had the complete balance during the Kevin Stefanski regime. And it sucks for you fans because we've seen great running game success. And at times we've seen them be able to throw the ball at will on teams. So you continue. And now you look at the way it's going to go, right? Certainly Jameis Winston is going to be probably somebody that they're absolutely going to do everything they probably can to keep him around. I would not be surprised if they're trying to do that just now, but Jameis Winston and his camp, I believe it's agent Jimmy Sexton, probably saying, well, we're going to take this to the market. and rightfully so. This is probably Jameis's last chance at a good size of money. He will continue to stay around in the NFL. Players with his personality, players with his dedication, work ethic, those guys stick around. That's the way it works here in the NFL. Nobody's ever doubted that, of course, but you do think that the Browns should be all in, as they say, on keeping Jameis Winston around. DTR certainly a part of this. It'll be 4 quarterbacks in camp like it always is. So does that mean they chase a Justin Fields? Does that mean they draft somebody with one of their 11 draft picks? Certainly, probably highly probable they're going to go those routes. If Jameis continues on the course he is on, we're not going to get any chance to see any further play from DTR, which is a tough blow for him. I get it. I understand. But again, it's the NFL. It's not, Pop Warner. It's not Sundays where you're promised playing time, this, that, or the other thing. And right now, Jameis is playing so well. The Browns are a threat to win every week, which certainly keeps, the asses in the seats, so to speak. But you think that would be the course to go. Who knows how else it shakes out? Could Kirk Cousins be a possibility? I don't know, because Kirk Cousins now, well, if I'm leaving Atlanta, I want to go to a place. Bro, if you're leaving Atlanta, that means, your options are limited. These guys in the entitlement and what they think they can get, take where you can get a job is probably kind of where the thought process would be. And certainly, there's a pretty hefty contract certainly coming along with that, of course, for Kirk Cousins, the contract he is currently on. You could probably add another wide receiver, or do you keep Elijah Moore? And then that wide receiver core, your top 3 would be Moore, would be Tillman, certainly would be Jerry Jeudy. You got Thrash, Woods. I don't know, how much more he's going to be able to battle to stick around here. He's always been in a tough spot. It's just that there were so many other guys acquired ahead of him with more commitment, either a higher draft choice or certainly financial implications of guaranteed money and high salary to some of these players. But Deshaun Watson held this team back, and certainly Amari Cooper as well was part of holding this offense back, and certainly studying the growth of some of these players, and certainly the statistical production and output. Jerry Jeudy probably should be closer to 1,000 yards, if not more right now, if Amari Cooper had not been here early in the season. Jeudy had his struggles, but, if you kept throwing the pill, we know Jerry Jeudy had the ability to make plays. And kudos, Andrew Berry. Fantastic move again. You were going to bang out another 1,000-yard wide receiver by just trading away a 5th-round pick. Amari Cooper did it for you 2 years in a row. This year it was Jerry Jeudy, and even better. And the sprinkles on cherry on top of the ice cream, you moved Amari Cooper for a top 100 pick. Yes, there are moves to be criticized, but there are also moves that are just absolute slam dunks. And Andrew Berry handling trades for wide receivers and trading away a wide receiver over the last couple of years has been absolutely glorious on his part. We're going to continue here. Your latest Locked On Browns. Where are the needs on this roster? I think, again, last night's game against the Denver Broncos kind of gave us an idea where some of the biggest needs are. We continue. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns. Again, we appreciate you all for making the show your first listen. If you're not an everydayer by now, make a new plan stand, subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel, and check out all the action daily. Show is always available. It's always free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, I mentioned earlier about trench play. And that is probably something that's a big takeaway from last night's game. And the Cleveland Browns, no sacks to the quarterback last night in Bo Nix. Defensive line struggled against the run. Jawan Briggs came up, certainly, hopefully a part maybe of the future here. But whether it is the drafts, whether it is free agency, I will think that the Browns are going to prioritize defensive tackle. And I think the Browns are certainly going to prioritize left tackle. These are things, and I'm not saying, I'm not ruling out DeJuan Jones, any of those things. Maybe the kid from LSU that everybody, says is a guard in the NFL, Will Campbell, maybe he is an option for the Cleveland Browns, because you have a guy that can maybe play left tackle if DeJuan shows you he can't, or you make the move that a lot of people think Will Campbell is going to have to make when he comes to the NFL and go to the interior. A game like that, last night, where you don't get anything out of your pass rush, I'd say it's an anomaly, and probably more credit to the way the Denver Broncos are structured, but certainly problematic. There's no question about that. They just need to get better on run defense. They don't get enough penetration from the defensive line. They certainly don't get enough guys who can basically play containment. You cannot let these guys get outside at the rate that the Cleveland Browns are, because you're not even getting into the backfield. So which basically what these means these guys are getting to the outside. They're getting to the perimeter, and they're actually beating the linebackers to the spot. Just can't have it in the NFL. You got to show some more will. You have to show some more want to. And, those are things that are going to have to come. And you look just straight at the offensive side of the ball, and you have to actually ask yourself, how in the world did the Cleveland Browns not win this game? And that's when you get to those obviously crucial 3 interceptions. The last one would have been points either way, but it was so late in the game. Obviously, Cleveland was trying to get a touchdown. They certainly weren't chasing any other aspect. The 2 pick sixes, the one, Benito, I guess Jameis just didn't see him. Certainly the one later, again, just threw it. Bad spot. Probably didn't see a guy. Cannot happen. It absolutely cannot happen. But unlike many other players who have been at that building in Berea and struggled, this was 100% Jameis, and he put it on himself, which is what you love to see. And that is what leadership is. Own it. It was my mistake. I own it. I'm praying to the gods to help me with my addiction to pick six-itis. I mean, he's a treasure. He really is. And again, it makes the team more enjoyable when things aren't going well. It allows everybody, including myself, to do our jobs. He is never at a shortage for a quote or a chat. Jameis is a fantastic, fantastic guy to cover. Biggest question for the Browns is, can he tighten it up? And it wouldn't be completely uncommon for a guy who's been in the league as long as Jameis is to just kind of get it right. But here's the problem, and you saw it on all those interceptions yesterday, because Jameis is such a big dude with a long release and a long windup. The short game is where he's going to struggle, because he sees it, and then all of this has got to go on for it to get out, and he certainly throws the ball with a great velocity. But it's not enough. It's not enough to overcome the fact that he's just not quick in his mannerisms. He's not quick in his technique of throwing the football, and it leads to issues in the short passing game, as we all saw last night. Again, just to continue to shout it out, Jerry Jeudy, and again, everydayers. I've been on this, for 2 years now, and acquiring Jerry Jeudy was years ago with Pete Smith, and you're always trying to pick through teams, Russ and Jerry Jeudy, and then it came to fruition. And of course, the first person to message me was Pete himself. And it's fun when things work out like that, when you do what we do here, because of course we suggest 5 million players that we think would be great fits for the teams that we cover. Very rarely does it happen. And most, again, everydayers, as you all know, most of the players we've brought up for years make it to the AFC North, but usually either make it to the Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Baltimore Ravens. But this one came, and he's had so much fun last night. It was great to see. Hearing more, certainly, about, my cleats, my cause. And certainly, I believe Jerry was, I think it was a high school senior when he had lost his 7-year-old sister, who had a devastating, debilitating disease, and had basically just shown the will to outlast that disease to only even 7 years old. And most people thought she would, see half of that time. That kind of tells you where, the work ethic and the fight and the dog and a guy like Jerry Jeudy comes from. You see something like that, you go through something like that at a young age, you kind of get something and you get this message and this feel and this sense of reflection that most people try to chase their entire lives to get, is that, every day is a gift. Every day is a blessing. And, Jerry Jeudy goes out there and just plays and, loves the game. And it certainly, have found a comfort zone in his life. And it certainly was a dark time for him last year in Denver. That shade got pulled up on the window with the trade to Cleveland. And, looking out the window was a little murky for the first couple of weeks. But since then, Jerry Jeudy has been everything and then some. And I could not be happier for him. And I'm pretty happy for myself because this is one I was really excited to see the Browns make this move. And it's always nice when they do make the move and it doesn't turn out to be a dog with fleas. Jerry Jeudy, Jameis Winston, thanks for an absolute delight of a ball game last night. With that, we got to start switching. Monday Night Football, quick turnaround, and it's Steelers week once again. So make sure, everybody, you stick around at Locked On Browns YouTube channel. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. Appreciate you all for making the show your first listen. The Everydayers are a bunch of filthy animals. I love the filthy animals. Become a filthy animal yourself by subscribing to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out the Locked On NFL podcast. Tyler Rowan in the morning, Tony Wiggins in the afternoon. This has been your daily delivery of all things dog pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.